Hello, folks. Welcome to the College Football Week 2 predictions video. If you have not seen my last college football prediction video, go check that out. Week 1, of course. But this week will be some big games, and including the game of the week. So let's get to it. Starting tomorrow, we have JMU, James Madison, taking on Louisville at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Louisville's a 12.5-point favorites. Both the Dukes and the Cardinals are both 1-0 this season. One of them is going to lose. Miller Moss had a good debut, although those picks were incidents there. This should be a good game. It's a 12.5 favorites, Louisville. But I think JMU plays competitive, but Louisville wins it by 10. Eastern Washington taking on Boise State at 9 p.m. Eastern on FS1. A must-win for the Broncos if they want to get back to the college football playoffs for the second straight year in a row. They're coming off a tough or more brutal loss to the South Florida Bulls. Yeah, they're back home, taking on Eastern Washington, coming off a tough loss as well. Give me the Boise State Broncos. They'll win it by 23. We go to Saturday. San Jose State taking on 7th-ranked Texas, 12 p.m. Eastern on ABC. Texas is a 36.5-point favorite. Archmany makes his home game debut, of course, coming off a 7-14 loss to Ohio State, who are now ranked as number 1. This is a must-win game for the Longhorns because they are taking on a Spartans team that are coming off a loss. So, again, I don't have to check these other teams if I have to, but I don't think I have San Jose State. Yikes. Yeah, I don't think so. Sorry, Spartans. If I didn't get your game, my fault. But this is a must game. This is in Austin. Give me the Texas Longhorns by 40. Number 11, Illinois, taking on Duke at 12 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. The Fighting Illini is a 2.5-point favorites in this game. This should be a real treat. A real treat, by the way. Fighting Illini are coming off a big win, dominant win, of course, in clean fashion. They're going to take on Duke, who are coming up very impressive. Very impressive with their new quarterback, of course, who is a transfer QB from Tulane. Now this is the big test. And playing Illinois will not be easy. So give me the Fighting Illini. I think they win it by 10. It's the rivalry of Iowa. Sorry. It is Iowa taking on 16th-ranked Iowa State at 12 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Iowa State is a 3.5-point favorite. This rivalry means a lot for both teams, of course. Iowa is coming off their big win, their first win in the Mark Gronkowski era as the QB. They're going to take on the Cyclones, who are getting some good wins, of course. 2 weeks ago, I believe 2 weeks ago, they played against Kansas State. They beat them in Dublin. And last week, they took down South Dakota State. How am I forgetting about this? Blah! But being played in Iowa State, and Cyclones fans don't like the Hawkeye fans. So give me the Iowa Hawkeyes getting a big win on the road. And as the lights turn off, give me Iowa by 5. Next up, we have Baylor taking on 17th-ranked SMU at 12 p.m. Eastern on the CW network. SMU is a 2.5-point favorites in this one. Baylor are coming off a tough loss to Auburn at home. They have to travel not too far against SMU, who are coming off a win. And their record is 1-0. Big game for Baylor because they cannot afford to start 0-2 in this one against a Mustangs team that their expectations could be high to get them to the ACC championship again. But Not so fast. Give me the Baylor Bears upsetting the Mustangs by 4. Virginia taking on NC State at 12 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. North Carolina State is a 2.5-point favorite. Big game, of course, for NC State. They're coming off an impressive win against East Carolina. They welcome Virginia, who they just started the Chandler Morris era with a win. Of course, the new QB, transfer quarterback from North Texas. By the way, this should be a real treat. This should be a game to keep an eye on. I'm going to say NC State pulls off the big win. Give me NC State. The Wolfpack win it by 5. UConn taking on Syracuse at 12 p.m. Eastern on ESPN+. Syracuse is a 6.5-point favorite. Syracuse are coming off a tough loss to Tennessee in Atlanta, but they're back home against UConn, who are starting off the season 1-0. Big game for Frank Brown and, of course, Steve Anella, who is the transfer quarterback. Give me Syracuse by 4. Oklahoma State taking on 6th-ranked Oregon at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on CBS. Oregon is a 29.5-point favorite. Both teams are getting their first win of the season so far, but for Oregon, Dante Moore looked impressive. Although their defense really impressed me also. But can they win it? And this is a challenge against Oklahoma State that are starting a new QB, a new start, fresh. Give me Oregon by 30. Troy taking on 8th-ranked Clemson at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ACC Network. Clemson is a 33.5-point favorite. A must-win game for the Clemson Tigers, who are coming off a loss to the LSU Tigers. I picked you guys to win, and you guys upset us. You guys upset me. They're going to take on the Trojans, who are coming off a good win, of course. They're 1-0 this season. Give me Clemson by 40. 20th-ranked Ole Miss taking on Kentucky at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ABC. Ole Miss is a 9.5-point favorite. Big game for both teams. Of course, Kentucky coming off a good win against Tulsa Rockets. They welcome the Rebels, who are feeling confident this year with a new QB in Austin Simmons. A lefty-hander finds a way to throw that left-hander. This should be a good game. And remember, last year, Kentucky upset Ole Miss last year. So will we see that again this year? The answer is no. Rebels win it by 17. Kansas taking on Missouri at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. Missouri is a 6.5-point favorite. Should be a real great game, by the way, against a Kansas team that's starting 2-0, by the way. They beat Fresno State last 2 weeks ago, and they just crushed it in their last game. 2-0 so far. Missouri, on the other hand, big impressive start, of course, without Brady Cook, Luther Burden. Their star running back, Noel, will be ready to go this year. So, being played in Missouri, I do think Missouri should win this game because they are trying to keep up with those SEC teams like Georgia, Oklahoma, which we'll get to Oklahoma in a moment. But give me Missouri winning it by 3. Fresno State taking on Oregon State at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on the CW Network. Oregon State is a 3.5-point favorite. The Bulldogs of Fresno State got their first win of the season. Congratulations. They're going to head to Oregon State and take on Malachi Murphy and the Beavers, who are coming off a disappointing loss. Being played in Oregon State, give me the Beavers by 1 point. Then we have a rare game, by the way. It is Delaware Blue Hens taking on the Colorado Buffaloes, 3:30 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Colorado's a 24.5-point favorite. Now, the news, of course, last week we had Caden Sellers. This week we're going to see Julian Lewis, or Juju Lewis. Yeah, my name is Julian, but if you want to go Juju Lewis, you're welcome. Yes, the news was confirmed, I believe, yesterday. Deion Sanders is naming Juju Lewis as the starting quarterback for this game against the Blue Hens. We're coming off a great win against Delaware State, and now they should be ready for their first ever FBS matchup in their school history. But give me Colorado by 27. South Florida taking on 13th ranked Florida at 4:15 p.m. Eastern on the SEC Network. Florida is a 17.5-point favorites. Both teams are coming off good wins, but South Florida, an impressive win against Boise State. They got to go to the swamp, and take on the Florida Gators. And by the way, the Gators are probably sending the SEC a message. Hey, Georgia, Alabama, Texas, better watch out for us because we got a quarterback in DJ Lagway who's going to find a way to win more games, and we're going to get to the SEC championship game. Other than that, given the Gators, I would love to see the Bulls winning it, but the Gators will win it. They get the win by 10. UNC taking on Charlotte. 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN 2, or ESPN Plus. Sorry, ESPN Plus. North Carolina is a 13.5-point favorite. The world has witnessed Bill Belichick in a loss to TCU. I predict TCU to win it, so you can't blame me. They're going to take on Charlotte, who are coming off a tough loss to App State in Charlotte, Bank of Mexico Stadium. So this is a homecomer for Charlotte 49ers, but give me the Tar Heels. They'll get back on track. They'll win it by 20. 12th ranked Arizona State taking on Mississippi State at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN 2. Arizona State is a 6.5-point favorite. Should be a fun game, by the way. Blake Sharp and Mississippi State are coming off a big win against Southern Miss. Big win for them. They're going to take on Arizona State, who are trying to get their rhythm from last year and bringing it this year without Cam Scatterboo, and they did. 1-0 start. Give me Arizona State by 5. And now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the game of the week. It is 15th ranked Michigan taking on the 18th ranked Oklahoma Sooners. 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ABC. Oklahoma is a 5.5-point favorite. Here's why this is the game of the week. Michigan are coming off a big win against New Mexico. Lobos, of course. Bryce Underwood, impressive. They're going to take on the earliest Heisman Trophy winner, John Mateer, and the Sooners. And how did John Mateer perform? It's like you're laying right now in the seat and going with, well, he impressed us. We're going to win the SEC. We're going to beat Texas. And we have a good QB that we haven't had in a long time. By the way, what a win that was for Oklahoma, but is an impressive performance for John Mateer. Can he do it against Wink Mondale and that Michigan defense? I think this could be close, but give me the Oklahoma Sooners. The Oklahoma Sooners will beat the Michigan Wolverines by 7. Vanderbilt taking on Virginia Tech at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ACC Network. Virginia Tech is a 1.5-point favorite. They're coming off a tough loss to South Carolina on Sunday. They're going to take on Vanderbilt, who are coming off a great start, 1-0, of course. This should be a good game, but playing in Virginia Tech, let me tell you, that atmosphere is going to be rocking. So give me the Hokies winning it by 5 points. Big Ten Saturday night on NBC. It is Boston College against Michigan State at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Michigan State is a 4.5-point favorite, and this is going to be on NBC and Peacock. Boston College, first win without Thomas Castellanos, who's now in Florida State, by the way. They're going to take on Michigan State, who are also coming off their first win of the season. Congratulations. This should be a fun game. This is a rivalry game between these two schools that have history in the late 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s. So give me Michigan State beating Boston College by 5. ULM taking on 21st ranked Alabama, 7:45 p.m. Eastern on SEC Network. Alabama's a 36.5-point favorite. Well. If we want to talk about Alabama right now, this is the perfect time to talk about them. Yeah, we don't need to worry about Florida State. Just worry about this game. You can't start 0-2, by the way. So give me Bama winning it by 45 points. UCLA take on UNLV at 8 p.m. Eastern on CBS Sports Network. UCLA is a 2.5-point favorite. Really entertaining game, by the way. UNLV is coming off a good win against Sam Houston, while for UCLA, it's more of a Nico Yamale didn't show up. But we'll get to see him in Las Vegas. UCLA wins it by 6. San Diego State taking on Washington State at 10:15 p.m. Eastern on the CW Network. Washington State is a point and a half favorites. Very good game. The Aztecs and the Washington State Cougars, and an early preview of next season when these two teams meet each other in the new Big or Pac-12, which is going to be interesting to see. Both are coming off big wins, but if I have to pick one, give me the San Diego State Aztecs upsetting by 5. Just kidding, 4. And finally, Sam Houston taking on Hawaii at a rare time, 11:59 p.m. Rare, isn't it? On the Mountain West Network, Hawaii is a 6.5-point favorite. Sam Houston, 0-2. Not a good start. They're going to take on Hawaii, who got demolished by Arizona. This is a must-win for the Bearcats. Give me the Bearcats by 1 point. And that is it for my college football Week 2 predictions. Hello there. If you have not seen my other videos, go check them out on my channel. Of course, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell for more sports news.